All right, 336. More details. All right. I'll try to remember to put it on these computers eventually. Write a bank account tester whose main method constructs a bank account, deposits $1,000, withdraws $500, withdraws $400, and then prints the remaining balance. Print the expected results. The bank account class is included as a download file. So just before we get started, before you guys go all crazy and glassy-eyed and think this is too much work, if I put $1,000 in my bank account and I take 500 out, how much is left? And if I take 400 out, how much is left?
100.
So when I get all done with this and I print my answer, it should say what?
100.
All right. And how do I withdraw money from a bank account?
Subtract it.
All right. So I'm trying to permanently store how much any particular bank account object has. So that tells you I have to have what in my bank account?
A minimum.
A variable, particularly there's a special name for a variable that we store permanently in a class. No, that's the type. It's close to integer. It starts with the same letter. An instance field. All right? It's where I say like private something, right? Private something at the top, right? So we'll download the bank account file. All right, I'm going to open BlueJ. You're going to put a new project called E3_6. I'm just going to put it here. And then you're going to make a new class called bank account. Actually, remember, you can just go blah, 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 blah. Open it up. Cut it out. Now, the one thing that you have to do when you open these is what? I have to underline them for some random reason, but all right, we're going to underline, we're going to copy, we're going to paste into BlueJ.
Is that the code that the download gives us?
Yes, so this is the bank account, okay? And so if you do what I did, you got to remove, you can only have the word public class once, all right? All right. And I have to, anytime I do this, if there's any quotation marks in here like this, I have to change them because those are the wrong ASCII characters. Okay? Yes?
Why is it that that bottom one is like moved all the way over to the left, but the other ones aren't?
Why is what?
Like the yellow part.
Oh, just probably because I didn't tab it right when I wrote it. But when you can just do it by hand. All right, so I have this class, which is called bank account. It's got one instance field called balance, and it's a double. Why do you think my bank account balance should be a double? Because I need to be able to handle decimals. I have a default constructor, which is when I call for a new bank account. If I give it no parameters, it goes here, and my balance becomes what? 0. Otherwise, I have another bank account with a parameter, the amount to deposit, public bank account, and I give it a parameter. And that means I start with that amount in my bank account. I go to the bank and I say, I want to make a new account. Here's $100. And my balance then starts at that new value. Now I have withdraw. What does the, I keep moving. What should the withdrawal method do?
Take out whatever money amount.
Right, I have an amount parameter. I should subtract it from my balance field. All right, here's the longhand way of doing it. Double new balance variable equals my current balance instance field minus the amount. And then I override my balance and I reset balance to what my new balance was. The shorthand way, deposit should do what? Add the money to my balance field. And I can just shorthand it and say balance, it'll do the right side first, order of operations, it'll add the amount to my balance and then resave it and override my current balance amount. I need a getter. Those are my setters. I need a getter. I need to get my balance so I can view it because since it's private, only this class can directly touch it. And then we want to write these two-string methods because if I make a new bank account and then I tell the computer to print that bank account, well, let me show you. It's easier to show you. If I go into BlueJ and I'm going to make a new class called bank account tester, which, whoops, I can't spell, which you guys also need to make, tester. So this is my main method, so public static void main string args bank account my account equals new bank account. Now, do we want to use the default constructor or the overloaded constructor? If I write it like this, which one am I using? Is this calling my default constructor or my special one that I wrote? Special. If there's no parameters, it's your default one. My bank account balance would become what if I call this constructor? Well, let's go find it. If I look at the bank account constructor with no parameters, my balance automatically becomes what? 0, because I said so. Okay. If I use the bank account, and let's say we want to start it, well, let's start it with 0. It doesn't matter. Now, if I do not have a two-string method, that is to say, I don't have this in my program, and I try to print, oops, got an extra one at the bottom there. And if I don't have a two-string and I try to print a class, it's going to do something funky. It'll happily do it. But when I go to run my bank account tester, what do you think it's going to print? Oh, it'll print something.
Oh.
That's funky. Is that particularly useful information? No. What it does is it prints the hash code for the address of where that thing is in the computer. Do I care where in the world in the memory of my computer this thing is? That is not something that this class is going to come close to caring about. So you need to have, if you want to print your class, you're going to write this two-string method, which should include the class, which should return a string that has the class name and all instance fields in it. So now if I compile it and I run it, it'll actually print something useful because I told it to. All right. But for now, we have a tester, and based on the assignment, what is this tester supposed to do? So main method who constructs a bank account, have we done that yet? Yeah, I made a new bank account, right? Right there it is. My account is new bank account. I made one. Now, I don't want to do that. What am I supposed to do after I make my account? What's the next thing it says to do?
Add money.
Add money. How much?
1,000.
How do I do that?
Bank account equals balance.
Ah, but I'm not in my same class. I cannot directly touch the balance field. I can only use methods. Now, did I write in my bank account a method to allow me to add money? Deposit. My account dot deposit, and in the parameter field, how much did the assignment say? 1,000. All right. Then what was I supposed to do based on the assignment?
Withdraw.
So my account, and call the withdraw method. And how much was that supposed to be?
500.
All right. Then what was I supposed to do?
Draw 400.
All right. Then what was I supposed to do?
Then print out the balance.
All right. Print the balance, right? And what else am I supposed to print? What does the assignment say?
Expected results.
The expected result. What's my expected result? Expected balance equals what? Does that seem to satisfy the requirements of the assignment? Well, I made a new bank account. I constructed a bank account object. I deposited $1,000. I withdrew 500. I withdrew 400. I'm telling the computer to do the math, and then I'm checking it because I can do that in my head.
And it prints out 100.
And I run it, and it should print 100.
It's asking me identifier expected.
Ah, identifier expected.
It says like my public's in like a white box, but it's like right next to the.
Mm.
equation.
So, all right. So remember, it's got to look something like this.
It's not capital.
Yep.
This is 3.6, right?
This is 3.6, right? So author version is the date. Assignment is 3.6. Partners, there aren't really any. Now you don't have to do this, but what do you think is going to happen if I do this? If I do this, what do you think has happened? How many bank accounts, how many new bank accounts have I made with these two lines? Got to vote for 2. Andy, what do you say?
Say again, sir.
With these 2 lines, how many new bank accounts have I made?
Still one.
Just one.
1. Why?
Replace the first one.
It replaced the first one.
How many times do you see the word new?
None. Once.
Once. Every time you see the word new, I'm making a new one. Here, I'm not making a new one. I'm making a second object reference, but do you remember from the reading what is actually stored inside an object variable? The location of where it goes and makes the new one in the computer. So, have I made another new one here? Do you see the word new here again? No. All I'm doing is copying the address here into the address here. So now I have 2 names that point to the exact same bank account. So if you ever do that, that is a mistake. Don't do that.